Yeah.
We know.
Sorry.
To tap right in there.
As soon as we put you on camera, the audio went down.
And I just had to say Trump is my favorite president.
I know, right? Fucking hey, man.
God damn it.
I'm getting out of here, man.
We're all marked.
I'm gonna leave in a burqa. Like a fucking Muslim.
Black SUV is waiting at the marina, waiting for us to leave now.
Hey, there we go.
That's probably Sawada's waiting for.
Hey, I fucking fixed
You
it.
can't harass me. I'll probably get fucked.
I don't know why the fuck that happened. I think it's the New World Order. Hey, Wilbur, why would the New World Order be after us today?
I don't know, man. I think it's because they're not wrestling fans. I don't know.
Could it be our guest?
Maybe. Our guest is kind of a badass here. And it'll be our first guest that we have to have pixelated.
She might be more outlaw than Aboriginal Outlaws.
Ain't that fucking sad? Ain't that fucking sad?
We're not even evading taxes anymore.
Yeah.
Pansy ass motherfuckers.
We might just have to have Hooney just draw her into our logo.
Like Jesus.
The Aboriginal in-laws.
Well, you know who we are, baby. Welcome, folks. I'm Josh Sargent.
I'm Johnny B.
No, you're not.
I'm Sugar Bear Sunday.
There you go.
I'm Johnny B.
We almost got that right. Look at that. Holy shit. And thank you so much for joining us. Our guest today, I mean, just... What can I say, man? She's a bad motherfucker. And I thought she was cool as hell until she said she was vegan. But anyway, today, ladies and gentlemen, man, introducing the one and only Jackie Hall.
Yes.
Are you a little warm there?
Most definitely.
Is it?
So once again, I have to ask you, because we weren't recording the first time, I guess.
We were recording video.
Why are you here? What's so cool about you? I mean, I already know why you're so cool, but our listeners don't. So share what you can that's not going to put you on a watch list.
Anymore. You're on a watch. She's on a watch list.
Okay.
In both countries.
Yeah.
Well, share with us that's going to keep you out of a cell. And please don't say last names.
I'm trying not.
Okay, please don't.
Yeah, just call, officer.
Just because you want to ruin your life, don't ruin it. No, I'm kidding. These are jokes.
Officer
Comedy,
fuckface,
waka waka. Here we go.
Honestly, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm here for our camp.
Yeah.
And legal stuff.
Camp.
Yeah.
So you joined Josh's cult.
Not yet.
No.
But it is on my road.
That explains the bump. She's so that means she's prototype 1.
No.
You're the one that believed the lies.
She's the one not buried.
Whoa.
Is that too far, Will?
Whoa. I mean, if that's
He just started sweating.
if that's your comedy, you go right ahead.
So yes, you're here because of the camp, and we had some interesting conversations recently. So most people don't know about this stuff. Like I know about it. I know what all those tattoos mean, but the general Mohawk public doesn't. So I think this is a good avenue to let them know.
Yeah.
Maybe if you ask me questions,
Yeah.
that'll help.
Well, why don't you tell us about the camp first of all?
First, can I say something real quick before you start? There's literally a woman here fanning herself.
Yeah.
When the fuck is your cheap ass gonna get that fucking air conditioner?
It won't fit in the window.
You literally waited till fucking August to be like, can't get it.
Yeah. Well, I do remember pointing one out in April and several other guys saying, "Oh, that one's too expensive."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who said that?
The other guy sitting across from me.
Yeah.
I don't remember having that conversation.
Yeah. I can go back. I can find it. You can be like, yeah, fuck, just get
You go ahead and put that amount of energy to find something to prove me fucking wrong.
Yeah.
It'll take 1 second. When
I remember
searching.
it.
Yeah, you remember it.
Yeah.
You remember it.
I'm pretty sure I mentioned
Anyway,
it.
Jackie Hall.
Yeah, he's done now.
So what is it? This camp? What is it? You guys like? They're cunts. What can I say? Real cunts. They really are.
I'll start with the history you know, the Dundee land claim that happened.
I heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But can you fill our listeners in just like a quick little 30-second of what that is?
Okay.
Because not all of our listeners are Akwesasne.
So in the Canadian portion of Akwesasne, they have what they call modern day land claims, which are really just land surrenders, where Canada uses their own paid band council system to take our lands from us, and we're technically unceded. We have never given up title or right to our lands, but they'll use the band council to get votes, and then it's just a whole messy thing. But basically, it was a land surrender. And the only way we can get compensated for the leases that were owed since 1888 was to surrender our land. So they're saying you're acknowledging that the surrender was valid, but we'll pay you back pay for the leases we owe you, which is saying like we owe you leases because you never surrendered your land, but you can only get that money if you say you surrendered your land. So our clan basically met and said we need to just start using the land and utilizing it, because the Oneida case, in New York, they went to court and they lost their case because the judge basically said you haven't been using your land, you haven't been occupying it, like going out there hunting, picking medicines, actually utilizing the land for so long that you lost your land. So it's really important for us to continue being like, even in the Adirondacks, to like continue.
Was
like,
that Cheryl versus Oneida?
Yeah, that one.
The Cheryl case where they used latches that they waited too long and they weren't occupying the land.
Yeah, but it's been shown here that we've never stopped occupying, like we've never stopped hunting and trapping on the land out there in Dundee.
Especially Dundee, right?
Yeah.
Because like even everybody from Tsisnyene is still trapped down there.
Yeah, and then we have like the documented proof. So our family basically, well, because I have so many kids, and then when COVID started, it was almost perfect because I was pulling them out to homeschool them. So we basically made it a land-based language camp down there. So I'm homeschooling my children, but doing it like on land-based teachings and trying to like revitalize the language and everything at the same time.
So you basically opened your own school for your children.
And for everyone else. We're
Holy
just building it up.
shit.
We're just starting to build up a schoolhouse right now. That's like a 20 by 30 building. But we had to wait a couple seasons because it floods out there to see how soft the ground was and if it was doable to put a structure there. So now we're working on a schoolhouse where like we went out to the mountains today to get spring water and medicines with a group of people, and to be able to bring them back and process it and make it into like salves and medicines, or like if we hunt, we'll be able to like skin the deer and like, clean it and everything right there at camp, and like teach them how to do these things and live off the land, especially with the food shortages that are coming up. It's like really important to like get this going, not just for my children, but for everybody that's willing to go down there, that's not afraid to. Like I drive through the border like we're going to Tsisnyene, but they want me to check in across the river and I never do. And that's why they're trying to charge me. But some people are too afraid to come down here because of that threat. So there's a lot of factors that come into play. Why?
So daily, when you drive by here, for people that don't know, it's down Hopkins Point in Dundee, same road we're actually sitting on. So you don't check in, you just go.
Yeah.
If you feel like paying Josh Sargent a visit, come down to this road.
No one's gonna cause trouble here.
Apparently, some people don't mind trying.
I mean, hey, you come far enough.
Yeah.
You come within range.
Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry.
It's like it's like not checking in on the island when you drive.
Yeah.
Except for the river is so small, you can literally like wave at the officers and they see
Yeah, it's
you.
kind of stupid.
Yeah, and but now they're trying to criminally charge me like with Federal Canadian Customs Act, like for failure to report. So that would be like as if they started enforcing on everybody that wasn't checking in on the island. So like if you didn't check in, and then all of a sudden you got the Akwi serving you a paper like bringing you to court for federal charges because you didn't report to their customs in Cornwall. That's what they're doing.
I used to not. Like, if it was just me in the car and I just had to go to the island and back, I used to not check in all the time.
Yeah, I just strictly had a view. Could have just.
And nobody checks in the Tsisnyene Saint.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to, of course. But, I mean, I'm saying that now that, I had the wife and kids with me, she won't let me do that. So I got to be like, fine.
You have to
gotta wait
comply.
in this fucking long-ass line.
Yeah.
And I'm literally just like, we can seriously just fucking turn around right now.
Yeah.
And go. Like, let's do it. Come on.
So that's pretty badass. You got to camp down there. You got to farm and stuff.
I know. I feel like a poser.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I literally just had Taco Bell before I came here. Yeah.
Well, I came to know about it because the RCMP and the SQ kept going down there in the Akwes. And I'm like, what the fuck are they up to?
Really?
And so after a while,
So funny.
so after
It's
a
my
while,
life.
yeah. And so after a while, I'm like, you know, we started kind of telling them, hey guys, they're coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't fucking care. I'll rat them out. They're Canadian police. This is
Yeah.
America, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Once you get over here, I'll shoot at you.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. Things happen.
This is comedy. Probably.
Yeah, they had to be reminded that they have to leave their jurisdiction and leave Canada to get back to where they came from.
Yeah.
Just a little slight reminder.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a letter delivered by the Akwes asking me to politely not do what I did to them anymore in America.
What did you do to them?
No comment.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
Just so yeah, we reminded them.
You know why? Because
Politely.
she's still fighting the good fight.
That's true. That's true.
In a world of people that just fucking talk.
That's true.
Let's just say I got their attention and stopped them on the road very gently.
Yeah.
I respect that. That's fucking awesome. You're slowly becoming a personal hero of mine. That's good.
Okay. I don't know how to take
That's
that.
awesome as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, take it how you will.
Yeah.
Take it how you will. I don't know how you do with compliments. You know, we all got a little bit of generational trauma in there.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, I know.
oh, he said something nice. He must be fucking lying.
I know.
So you've been at the camp for a couple years now. How's it going down there? Can you what can you
I
describe?
think it's going okay.
I mean, she's sitting here. She's not in jail. Clearly.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
I mean, she's clearly having fun.
Staying busy.
I mean,
There you go. Nice. Nice.
there isn't a protest within our nations. where
Hey,
it
even
doesn't
though
have
you're
a bunch of
vegan,
kids
you're
Yeah.
getting your protein, huh?
Yeah.
Sing comedy.
out. Yeah.
Oh, how, will you ask?
Did you just go ow?
No, I said wait. I don't even know anymore.
You
Yeah.
forgot to go for the white people.
I think I was gonna answer the question. And
That's
I forgot
right.
what it was.
It's like, how's the camp going? How did it start?
Mhm.
What brought you there? And how's it all going? Like, take us through your journey.
It sounds like she had your idea, but just did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Sans the police part. There's
Okay.
daily shit.
I think I'm done picking on Josh today. I think I picked on him
Okay.
enough.
That's enough.
Like,
You don't want me
gonna-
to start giving it back. You
I'm
might
gonna
cry.
pick on John. You give
Yeah,
it
yeah.
back all the time.
Yeah,
what are you
pick on
talking
me, man.
about?
I don't even know how much
You
I should say.
fucking-
Yeah. What can just say what you can say.
Fucking pointy ass Marlon Brando nose motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah. I love Brando.
I'll start with the first day. We were clearing it out, and compliance MCA were the only ones that ever really went down there, right?
Right, just
That's
the
what your mom
Aquas,
said. Yeah. So they came down and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And my cousin happened to be one of the compliance officers, and he went to school to be a cop. He was holding his little notepad, and I was like, "What are you doing? Writing don't stand for the cops?" He's like, "What? No, this is for bad counsel." I get my evidence a couple months back, and guess whose notes are in RCMP's evidence?
Aha.
Acting as an informant.
Yeah.
My own blood.
Yeah.
So that was compliance, and then they basically handed over jurisdiction because they had Aquis come down there by boat. They were driving down there. SQ would come down with the liaison with Norm Aqui, community officer guy,
Mm-hmm.
and then RCMP. But then the Aquis backed off and basically handed jurisdiction over to RCMP and SQ over here, even though we were supposedly getting this land back under the land claim that they ratified after like 30-something appeals that they denied. So I was a part of all that appeal process too to try to slow down their ratifying the land claim deal. So whenever they handed over jurisdiction, it just showed that there is no plans because it's supposed to be coming from willing sellers. Like, if no one's willing to sell, how are we supposed to get this land back?
Mm-hmm.
So that's another reason I chose it, because it's a wildlife sanctuary, so it's technically crown land. It's not privately owned. And when we found that spot, I was lost. I just drove down there to check it out, and my kids, we turned around and they seen an old swing set, so I chose that spot. Come to find out, that little tiny hut is like leased by this French guy in Chateauguay. And then the rest MCA bought from this one bridge all the way to the St. Lawrence. So it's all MCA bought land,
Mm-hmm.
crown land for a wildlife sanctuary, and then like tiny little lot that's privately leased, not owned, leased, because we never surrendered our land. It's a leasee. So they wanted to get me out and they couldn't. The mayor was threatening us. They even blocked the road off one
The
time.
mayor of Dundee.
Yeah.
Yeah, she tried to block the road. We moved the block. We just kept going. And then she tried to talk to the federal or Quebec Aboriginal Minister of Affairs.
Mm-hmm.
And we were trying to put a agreement in place with MCA how to handle this situation, and they're trying to get us out, and they basically gave up. There's a old guy that used to be a mayor in the town over. I can't remember what it's called, but he would give me the translated meeting minutes from Dundee, so I know what they were saying because it's all in French. So yeah, they're basically like out to try to like fine us for our buildings, trying to find any way to get rid of us. And then the RCMP are more border because I don't check in. So they did everything in their power to get rid of us, and this is like their last resort. And that's what the Crown prosecutor said, that this is their last resort, bringing me to court for these federal charges because they couldn't get us off the land.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah. That's just the legal aspect. That's not even going into like everything we've done with trapping and teaching the kids and you know, harvesting medicine and growing food and raising animals.
That's just the shit you have to put up with trying to do things your way.
Yeah.
So those are the things holding you back, really.
So you're saying you didn't do a 5-year feasibility study like some people do?
No, I don't know what that is.
If it was MCA, that's what they would do. They'd spend $100,000 before they ever fucking put a camper out there.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're telling me that a bunch of Indians that work with the government are a bunch of bootlicking pussies? No. No. What?
It's funny how they flip, right? Like how someone you knew growing up will end up speaking their language and making their excuses. It's a mind fuck, right?
Yeah.
If anything, it's kind of like pitiful to watch.
Yeah.
They might as well be on their knee kissing the ring, right? Literally.
Yeah.
Just like, please don't take my money away. Of course we'll put a new building there. You know, it's just like, get off your fucking knees, you coward.
But we do help them by not acting, right?
Yeah, you're being compliant. You're just as guilty, basically. But I don't hold no ill feelings, and if you really think about it, it was designed that way. As soon as they started taking our kids to residential school and forcing them away from their parents and their families and teaching them to comply and to submit, and that's basically what they taught us, industrial schools and everything. Like, you just do as you're told, don't ask questions. And that's how many generations going forward, they basically groomed our generations to be those good band council people that will sell our people because they want to be equal in their eyes, because under the doctrine of discovery, we were always treated as a subhuman species. That's why they call us a band of Indians, like we're a bunch of animals. So all the people that are taught, they have this almost like it's like a complex. Like even the cops, we talk about the native cops and how they have a hard time because they're taught to look at their own people and they're native, to look at them like they're animals. They're not the same as a human. They don't have the rights as a human being. So how do you think that affects their mind? So the decisions they make, it's basically out of survival. So it's kind of hard to like have personal blame for anybody in their actions. Even my cousin, for what he did, he was raised in the church. You know what I mean? So it explains a lot, like how his mindset would be. But I was fortunate to grow up in the Longhouse and have different teachings and principles instilled, and like not having my grandma go to residential school because her grandma stood at the front door with an axe when the RCMP came to pick her up. She had to threaten to kill him to keep my grandma home, to keep the language in our family. She was one of the last first language speakers in our family, and my mom's generation is like the first generation that don't have that. So now I'm trying to bring that back into our family too. So there's a lot of factors in play. So it's really kind of hard to have anger towards your own people because it's not our fault. The system was set up that way.
But their chief is a white guy.
All right, now I'm sad.
Yeah, it's the truth.
I just made a little joke.
Sorry.
You like really took me to school. It's like, why are you making fun of your people? They're hurt. They got like, I thought I'd make you laugh. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's for sure. That is most definitely the reason why. And trust me, I feel guilty about it every day, but I will say, you know, fuck the church. I haven't been in so long. I finally got to win against my family for at least 2 of my kids and didn't have to splash that magic pedophile water on their forehead, you know. So I'm glad, you know, I've turned my ways around and I'm, you know, learning more traditional stuff, but I still love Taco Bell. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
But I'm trying my best. I'm really trying my best, you know. And I haven't burned my status card yet, but, you know, I want money, you know, so I'm trying. Yeah.
It's almost like you need everybody to rebel at once and together to make.
Yeah.
That's
Like the
tough,
5 arrows.
Yeah, like the 5 arrows, and that's a
Yeah.
tough proposition.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't even get more than 15 to vote for a guy who will totally upend the system.
What's the 5 arrows? If you don't
Like
mind
the
explaining that.
Confederacy teachings. So the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, when it was formed, the Gunawida used that as a symbolic. Like, it symbolizes our 5 nations coming together and how one arrow can break easily, but 5 of them bundled together is unbreakable. So that's like the principles and
Did you know
ideology
that?
behind it.
I've heard it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you did.
Know who else said that?
Holy-
Genghis Khan. True story.
Oh yeah, my daughter has a Mongolian mark.
Oh yeah,
A what?
Mongolian mark is
That was right above their button. It's like,
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They used to take our kids away and accuse us of child abuse because it looks like a big bruise,
Yeah.
but they call them Mongolian marks
So,
because
birthmark?
Genghis
Yeah, it's like a
Khan, like,
birthmark.
Oh.
like how many people are descendants of Genghis Khan?
No shit.
That would be cool if I was.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
what they say, but just like, is this back in the Pangea days? I mean, how the fuck did he make it to North America?
A boat. I don't know.
Boat?
They climbed in their spaceships.
You know,
Sea turtles.
Patton Oswalt has an amazing joke about this, about Genghis Khan. Like, how fucking strong was that fucking sperm? Because he's wearing nothing but fur and leather back then. He's on fucking, just fucking cum-killing fucking horse rides, fucking 18 hours long. And then when he finally shows up somewhere, he's like, all right, I've killed them all, now I want to fuck. But still, that sperm went to work, and he's just fucking 1/3 of the goddamn world. Goddamn. That was some tough those were tough balls.
How many? Yeah, okay, 1,000 years. How many people are going to carry Wilbur's jeans? I bet a lot.
1,000 years. Yeah.
Are you saying I should keep going?
You're on the roll.
Yeah. Man, yeah, just
I mean, I haven't been fixed yet.
Yeah.
keep on trucking.
Hey, the handsome leg number's 13. Go for it.
is it?
It is.
Only halfway there.
It's a long road ahead for you.
I know.
13?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
Can that
fine.
be mixed?
I need to just get 5 more.
You do.
We're up to 10 if you count both sides.
So that's only 3 more pregnancies.
Yeah, pretty much. I could do that easily.
No problem, no.
I gotta rebuild the nation.
There you go.
That's my idea, yeah.
Yeah.
But they want you to buy shit for your kid. Like, what are you gonna do for Christmas?
Don't celebrate it.
I'm trying not to, but it's already gone on too long.
Just do what I do.
I'm not gonna fucking put my kids through a fucking Schindler's List scenario here. Just be like, guess what? We're not doing Christmas. No, I know we've been doing it for 8 fucking years. Too bad. The other half of your life is no Christmas.
I just tell my kids there's no Santa Claus, there's no Tooth Fairy. Tell all your friends.
Or you can just tell them the real truth about Santa Claus and maybe it'll scare the shit out of them because it has to do with demons.
Yeah.
That is
Really?
Krampus.
Yeah.
That is Krampus.
In fact, though, that's another form of colonization because the original teachings of the Germans, that was all their folklore.
Yeah.
And the Christians demonized it so they wouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And they just incorporated it into their fertility rites.
You know who else would be a demon under their ideology?
Ah.
The Sky Woman, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because she fell from the sky. She's a fallen one.
That's right. She's a fallen angel.
So
Fallen
why do
right
they
into
call
my
us
heart.
savages? And
I don't know.
what do they call us? Like savages and barbarians and
Yeah.
heathens. That's the word.
Heathens.
Heathens is the word.
Yeah.
We're all heathens here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Hitler thought we were really cool.
Yeah.
Just because he's got that little smudge on his resume, we have to like totally denounce his word here and be like, maybe he was a bad guy.
Hey, calm down, Jake. Calm down. bring it down a notch, alright?
And he did make a cool car, and the Autobahn was a great idea.
Didn't he get his stuff from residential schools?
He got it from
concentration camps.
Yeah,
Pretty
he got the
much.
concentration camps from the reservation system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was inspired by America's way of segregation.
Oh,
Yeah.
well then fuck Hitler then. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's one of those.
Yeah, I don't think we're
Jokes! Waka waka!
I don't think you're gonna get much pushback there. Fuck Hitler. We're gonna get one complaint.
I don't know. I think we're gonna lose at least 3 fans. What do you say? That's it. Unfollow.
Yeah.
Unsubscribe.
But we might gain 5 more from the Proud Boys.
Dude, how
Proud Boys.
Dude, for all we know, half of our audience are Nazis. We had Jake on fucking 5 goddamn
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
So you're a landback. You were a defender out west. Tell us all about that. What brought you here?
To Dundee?
I don't know, just where you're at in life.
Oh.
How'd you become?
To be clear.
I think he's basically asking, how'd you wind up in Akwesasne?
How'd you become one of these? I was once one of those. How did you become one of these?
I just want to point out he interviews people for a living.
Okay.
Yeah,
Me
one of his jobs, he does that.
Yeah.
I can read between the lines.
Yeah.
I think it would be called I would say I'm like a 3rd generation when it comes to this, because Ganyange, you know where Moss Lake is in New York State? My grandparents, Art and Verna Montour, were the ones that occupied that land, and my father was probably about my son's age right now, like probably 8-9 years old when he was there in Ganyange. And they had an armed standoff and led to having that Governor Kumu give them that land where Ganyange is now. And our family's been involved with that.
Mm-hmm.
Then on my dad's, that's my dad's side, and my mom's side, that's where I get the last name, Hall. So I'm a Hall with, like, Louis Hall's the one that created the warrior flag. And then our family, like my grandmother on my mother's side, is the one that stood at the door with the axe with the RCMP, and she was... So there's stories my grandma would talk about when we all had to be underground when we were traditional, because it was outlawed. And then when we were allowed to come out and build a longhouse and do it out in the open, my grandma remembers selling pies with her grandma to rebuild the longhouse. So we kept the ceremonies going underground. You know, lots of stuff. That's what... It's in my blood.
I just realized ours was on the floor as you're telling us
Disgrace.
about your uncle, and I'm like, oh, sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's kind of just like, there's no question about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, and then you see things through. You don't just start something and not finish it. And I know growing up from the stories and everything that my family told what to expect and their experiences, like the police harassment, everything. It's basically like a playbook. They have a playbook. And it kind of gets old after a while because you already know what to expect from them. So yeah. Does that answer the question?
It does.
Okay.
I like it. So
Johnny P, what do you think of our guest?
It's pretty interesting, man. Makes you want to just go fight police, huh?
No comment.
It's not right now.
make sure those hand grenades are real next time.
Yeah, the hand grenades. Well, I did get my car. I got my car surrounded and they found hand grenades in it before.
Yeah.
That's a fun story right there.
Yeah.
Just seeing cops like that run away, like 7 or 8 cops.
Yeah. Next time, make them real.
Yeah, just take off away from your car. I'm like, oh, I wonder what they're running from. Then,
Start juggling.
yeah, because I was out in a squad car behind my car. And one of them got on the radio and he's like, yo, can we get somebody on here? This guy's got hand grenades in a glove box.
This is a real story?
Yeah. I was like, oh,
Did you
shit.
tell it correctly? You
I was
gave like the fucking spark notes.
It was, I think it was around, I don't know, there was, okay.
It's a dark.
Yeah, no, there was,
stormy night.
there was a checkpoint in Hogan. You know, on the bottom of the hill by number 9, they always put that checkpoint there.
That drinking point.
Yeah, and it was one of those nights where everybody's out drinking. I forget. It might have been New Year's or
'Cause
something.
you were drinking.
Yeah, because I was also drinking. So, and then I had the car I had, dual exhaust, and they were both snapped in the middle, so it was really loud. It sounded like a fucking modified race car. Yeah, so they pulled
And he's
me
only
in,
going 35.
Yeah. So I rolled up to the checkpoint, fucking drunk, and my registration, he wasn't gonna let me go, but he didn't see it on the window. He's like, alright, you're free to go. Then he's like, wait. Oh shit, look at. So he pulled me over, and as he was walking to my car, I took off. My buddy was in the passenger seat. He's like, just go. I'm like, alright, fuck it.
Can I pause you for a second? You were fucking loaded.
Yeah.
You almost got away.
Driving.
Yeah,
Your fucking registration, you lazy fuck.
yeah. So my buddy's like, you know what, just fucking go, fuck them. I'm like, alright. So my car I hammered it, and because the exhaust, it was like spitting and sputtering. I almost didn't make it up that hill. Like my car almost died. And because I was drunk, I'm thinking, like, I've seen this in movies plenty of times. I can pull behind number 9 and shut off all the lights, and they're just gonna shoot right by. You know, in movies all the time. It doesn't exactly work like that. I pulled in behind number 9, and as I went to kill the lights on the car, the whole car just died. So I was like, fuck me. The car just died. And I just coasted into the brass parking lot. I got surrounded by cops by the time the car stopped rolling.
Because we know Johnny B don't run.
Yeah, tribalism. I'm like, alright, well, fucking hey, man. We're gonna get arrested. So I lit a cigarette. They're trying to open my driver's side door, and it was just jammed shut because I was sick of it. It wasn't like closing, so I just kicked it, and it just like got stuck. So they couldn't get me out. So I had my buddy climb. I was like, all right, let's go. And by that time, there was probably about 7 or 8 cop cars there, and they cuffed me, and then they put me in a car behind my car. I'm just sitting in the back seat, and then they're searching my car, and I see them all run away. They start running. I'm like, what the fuck? And then one of the tribals was like, can we get somebody on here? This guy's got a hand grenade in his glove box. I'm like, oh shit.
I forgot.
There is a hand grenade in there. I'm like, well shit, wait till they find the one rolling around under the passenger seat. Because there was one under the passenger seat too.
Why is it so like...
So yeah, once they found out it was fake, they it was alright. But that was a good one right there.
So you have a history.
Yeah, they brought me to the tribal
man.
station, right? They gave me like just a couple of tickets. They let me go. They just threw me out of a police station. As I got, because the tribal station is right by 37.
Yeah,
I
it
got
used
to
to
the
be.
road, and my cousin was driving by with a 30 pack.
Oh yeah.
Trying to be inside, he was like, "Yeah, I just got arrested because I have hand grenades in my car. Can you bring me home and get my spare keys so I can go get my car?" She's like, "Yeah." And we just continued drinking. Dropped my car off at home.
Sounds like a
See,
interesting night.
if only most Mohawks could act that rebellious and badass without being inebriated, you know, we could take this back, man.
Or we just get everybody drunk.
We could raise some hell. I just said let's do it without the booze.
We just get like real hand grenades and just start blowing shit up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, is this where we started superimposing messages here?
Just kidding, Cesis.
Burn the church down, say,
Hey, I've been called by CSIS. Have you ever been called by CSIS?
No.
churches
Not
need to go. Someone do our bidding. Churches need to be burned. Anyway.
Comedy.
Yeah. These are just jokes about burning down the church.
Hee ha ha.
We totally don't want you to throw a firework through the church. You know, one of those big ones with the mortar that you could point at a window. We don't want you to do that.
Where it really doesn't make sense why we have churches on our land. Do not burn those down in a joking manner.
You know, I don't.
That would be wrong.
That would be so
But it would be
terrible.
funny.
Honestly, I think that would actually be counterproductive.
If you want to impress your friends, if you want to be the cool kid, if you want to hook up with that lady, she would be so impressed if you burned down that church.
Yo, isn't there a community named Burnt Church?
I don't know.
There is. I think
Really?
It's Micmac, yeah. I just remember because they were fighting with lobster people over there, and like the lobstermen were running them over in their boats.
That's what it was called?
Why you gotta make it sound... Give them some credit, dude. Why you gotta make it so dumb?
No, it was cool.
They were fighting lobsters? Fucking A, dude.
They were fighting white people.
They were fighting, not lobsters.
They were fighting
themselves.
over lobsters.
They were...
Yeah.
They
were fighting for the right to fish for the lobsters,
yeah.
you fuck.
It's like,
Why you gotta make it sound dumb?
it's like we have deer and they have lobster. It's the same.
Yeah, try and get your fucking sea bugs. Yeah. Oh, you're such a dick. You're friends with this asshole? I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No comment.
He's a fine friend.
Because I warned her when the cops are coming.
I know, like everything you said, I got no comment.
Hey, you're like, you live around here? Like, you're just like in the area?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just down
You
the
haven't been
road.
It's
listening?
just on the road.
No shit. Oh, you said Dundee.
That's
This is
funny.
Dundee.
Yeah, but you don't have to...
Yeah. This side of the road.
I'm just on the edge of the res, just outside the box.
I'm Wilbur Sunday, and I'm retarded.
Oh my god.
We'll learn together. We'll learn together.
Can I go to your house?
You can.
Can I go get some raw honey?
Yeah.
Instead of show like Pooh Bear, be like,
Local honey. It's called lavender. In
can
it.
I have some?
So how's your
That
farm doing down there? What are you growing?
Shut up! I'm trying to get honey.
Trying to get honey.
Do you grow bees?
Well,
Yeah. Not yet. We're trying to get. I just started oyster and shiitake mushrooms. We have like beans, like all the food plants, and we got chickens. We got barred rocks and Jersey Giants.
Ooh.
oysters?
And oyster mushrooms.
Oh, I thought you meant oysters.
We were at war with the raccoons.
Yeah, I bet, with your chickens.
Yeah.
Coons.
Our dog's doing a good job though. So yeah, that's where we're at, and we have like the stuff that grows wild and everything there too. Yeah, we're trying to focus more on mushrooms because of the, the prophecies they talk about. It's like really good to have that knowledge because that grows in the dark. So say for some reason we don't have sunlight long enough, or we can't grow food, or climate changes, you got your fungus and your mushrooms and moss and all that edible stuff, just in case you're starving and you're really hungry and there's no Taco Bell.
I don't know. I got stuff in my freezer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ahead of
Imagine
the
if
curve.
the
I
power-
too
the power went
like
out.
some mushrooms.
So you're our second mushroom lady we've had on the show.
Oh yeah, Goey.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Goey listens into
Yeah.
wild crafting.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good knowledge to know.
Are you gonna be out there foraging mushrooms there, Jenny B?
Yeah. I mean, if I know what to look for.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily know what edible mushrooms do they look like.
Just try
I'm pretty sure they don't look like when you go to like the supermarket and it's already in your little box.
There's no boxes out
Yeah,
there.
already clean as shit. So I'm gonna be looking for like little green boxes with clear wrap on it that say mushrooms, and I'm like, fuck, man. I think I'm just gonna die out here. So
Hey man, if worse comes to worse, you lose some weight because you picked a bad mushroom and shit yourself.
could do that too.
Or you can wake up dead.
Yeah.
I mean, that's happening. Oh, dead! Before. See, don't let the look fool you. I don't just put random shit in my mouth.
Right.
So I'm not gonna be walking through the woods.
Honestly,
oh,
I
that
thought you
looks
were-
delicious.
Yeah, I thought you were just an adult baby. Like,
Yeah. Hey, look at mushrooms. No, I'm not. I mean, no. No,
can you imagine an adult person that never grew out of that phase just being like, yeah, like a fucking adult baby? I think we just made a skit.
I put it down.
Like someone went on a blind date with a guy who's just like acting like a baby. Like he's even sitting there just going like his food and shit. Or he's like touching it like,
This is how comedy's born.
I know.
yeah, these are how jokes work. Imagine a guy acting like a baby.
Next, you'll see a TikTok.
I got a pretty active imagination. I could like visualize all that.
Actually, I did think of a good TikTok the other day, and I want to share it with you guys, but I gotta film it first.
Okay.
I
It didn't even happen
I
yet.
thought it'd be funny to like put the expression "the land of milk and honey." It's like, but you're indigenous, and it's just me like throwing up milk, just like.
We can do that. We can chug milk later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I gotta fucking work tonight, man.
I got work tonight too.
Yeah, but
Come downstairs.
do you have an access to the bathroom?
I do.
Your shits first.
Oh, okay.
I do.
They don't.
I mean, I'm not gonna work 10 hours and not be able to piss in shit. What the fuck?
Well, excuse the fuck out of me. You work at a dispensary. Listen, fellas out there with a fucking dispensary. I see you driving around with your fucking expensive ass trucks, but your goddamn business, you have your workers going shit in an outhouse. What the fuck? Why doesn't your cheap ass build a bathroom for them? The fuck?
Yeah.
Winter is coming.
Fought for that right. I was there.
Out the front line.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Miss Hall.
She built a porta potty.
That's why the Aquas are harassing me because of that. No joke.
Did you have a
Because you were digging a shithole.
you have a permit for your shit house?
Yeah.
I've shit outside enough. I'm good.
Holy man.
Oh,
Try
yeah.
having to use it all winter.
No, not an outhouse. I've definitely shit outside in the winter.
Oh yeah.
I used to cut trees, so
Yeah.
if I had to go, I had to go.
Yeah, my last job.
Yeah, just fucking
We had outhouses right by the river, right by the St. Lawrence.
grab a tree.
Really?
Yeah, and it gets really cold out there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially right by the big ass river.
Right. Yeah.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
We've shit outside
Just
more
stood
than
up and
deer.
squatted.
That's fucking ridiculous, man. Shitting in 30 below weather.
Oh.
I don't think I like this job anymore.
That's a brown
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah, I don't think I like this job anymore.
We took the kids to the Wild Center that one time. That's just like what is it, like an hour away?
Like an hour and a half. I
Yeah.
used to work there in
Yeah.
Upper Lake.
Yep. Tupper Lake, that's the one. And my wife, she just adores otters. And we had gone around and we found where the otters were, and it took them a bit for them to come out, and we finally got to see them. And she was just like, "Oh my God, they're so cute!" And finally, there was one. He didn't hop in the water right away. He stayed up on top of the log. You know, he's just like real vigilant. And he immediately just started fucking like Play-Doh barbershop, just shit, just fucking. And it was a lot. And we were just like, oh, well, you know, this is what animals do. They just shit. Yeah, this is funny. I've seen an otter poo.
Awesome.
Hey, what?
Don't worry about it.
Don't make me parent. Stop fucking with things, dude.
I'm not.
Yes, you are. If we look at the video the whole time, you're just looking this way.
And there goes the fucking audio.
I know. We better wrap it up before he fucks it up and deletes everything.
No, I just picked something. Don't worry about it. I moved the logo. It's okay. You guys didn't have a logo.
We should have put that over her face so that she
Yeah.
we don't get her in trouble.
I have a Guy Fawkes mask in the other room.
No, it's too hot to wear.
You want to sit there like anonymous?
Yeah. That's funny.
What can you tell us about your other actions? Like you were a land defender out at Canahoos' place, right?
No, the Wet'suwet'en.
Yeah.
Well,
It's all
that's
the same to me. I haven't been out there.
yeah. Neither have I.
Oh no. Neither has she. Moving on.
Why
No.
don't you tell us more about this rebuilding the nation thing you got going on? What are your plans here?
To teach them.
Because it can't just be all you. You have to recruit some friends that need to help you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More like-minded people.
You hear that, ladies? This she can't do it all on her own. She needs your help. Uteruses unite. Come on, uteri.
I think. Well, that's a good question, and I can say I was out there. Now that I think about it. Okay. So, when in 2020, when we shut down Canada, when they raided for the second time, I think out there, we had already met in person with some of the hereditary chiefs and some of the like spokeswomen out there, and they're asking for help because where they are, they're so vast and spread out, and their population is like nothing close to what we have in Akwesasne alone. So they don't have the numbers to fight that pipeline, so they were asking for help. So whenever that happened, Tsisnyene shut down the tracks, and then Gunawaga shortly after. So I remember we organized to bring supplies out to both places. And then I was working for Indian Time at the time, and also Real People's Media. And I was freelancing for like different like Standard Freeholder and Eastern Door and everything. So I went out there as a journalist. And that's why I didn't catch charges like everybody else when the OPP came in to enforce their injunction and like beat the shit out of our men and almost killed my cousins. But I was there, but they couldn't put their hands on me because I was there as media. So that kind of led to me being able to go out west as media and like not get charged. And they know I'm out there, but the actions that took place when we're out there and seeing firsthand what was going on, it really makes... Like, we got it easy here, is all I have to say. Like, I was like, oh, it's getting hard at camp and, like, doing winter here. And then I go out there in the wintertime and use their outhouse in the wintertime. And it's, like, negative, like, twice as cold here. I don't even know. But, yeah, it's nothing. Like, it made it so much easier to be here in the winter and occupy land here. But they're, like, actually on the 20th, they're asking for help because, I don't know if they're drilling under the river. But there's something going on with the 20th, and a lot of my cousins and our people have been criminally charged for helping the Wet'suwet'en whenever the RCMP and CGL came in. And it's crazy because a lot of them are mercenaries, like the security, and it's like so racist. It's like almost like unbelievable what I seen, and then like how they conduct themselves out here. You can tell the Mohawks set a precedent because they would never ever try to do what they do to us, what they're doing to them out there. But that's because we've been in contact with them for 500 years, and out there it's like maybe 150 or just over, because they couldn't get through to Seneca because they couldn't conquer the Western Door until after all these wars, until they split up our confederacy, and then they could make it out to the West Coast, to the natives out there. So they learned their lesson from us, like how they conducted and made the two-row, like, you know, the Silver Covenant chain and all these agreements. They're making sure they don't make the same mistake with those nations out there again.
Well, to be fair, there was that one time when like we pointed AKs back at them and it sort of made them look bad.
Yeah.
I think that changed their dialogue here in the East. And I'm not so sure about nonviolent confrontation sometimes. I get the point of it, but I get all Martin Luther King's thing. But it almost seemed like battle rifles work a little better than injunctions, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how I was raised. It's to the very bitter end. You know, like you're at the bitter end now. So, like, what are you going to do? Like, the Akwesasne are still fighting for the pines and everything. My father's buried out there because they're involved with, like, the 90s when we had our civil war going on here, and they're standing up for the pines out there. And that was set up, too. Like, all these aliens and everything that's going on here, and they're getting more funding for the police, and they get four-wheelers and skidoos on our ice bridge. They think they're going to patrol the ice bridge now. And it's they create the problem to offer the solution. So in the 90s, the one SQ officer that got shot dead in Akwesasne actually was like a desk jockey and found proof that the SQ paid the band council here money, and the check was cash at a gun store in Valleyfield. And he was going to out that, and then they put him on the field the day he got shot and killed.
Didn't it turn out he was also hit by a NATO round?
Yeah, he was killed by his own people.
Yeah. That's what I read. It was a 5.56, and the Warriors are using 7.62. So
yeah, and so that was a government-funded civil war, and then our people, of course, because like Akwesasne and already had an armed standoff, like we already are capable of standing our ground. Not to say the civil war that was wrong, like our people fighting over money and capitalism, basically, and that's where our ways got lost, and people kind of lose track of like what are you really standing on those three principles when you talk about kind of like, oh, like peace, power, and righteousness, they say in English, because right now you're fighting your own people over money. So it's like a lesson that we had to learn watching that generation go through that. But it's like the ripple effect, because what happened from Akwesasne, how they agreed to take the blockades down, the government agreed to sit at the table, and they made like 9 different agreements, and one of them was to expedite land claims. So that's why they're doing this Dundee modern day land claims thing, but they twisted it to their benefit. And so even I can go way off track.
Go.
So the first, okay.
Explain it to the people who don't know. Like, most people don't know any of this.
Yeah, so they made the Royal Commission on Aboriginal something from that when the 90s conflict ended in Akwesasne. And that commission, there's this woman that sat on that commission, and she's actually the first Inuit Governor General in Canada.
Oh, don't worry about that. Oh.
So you know how the governor, what a Governor General is? That's actually the boss. The Prime Minister isn't. So the Governor General has a direct tie to the Queen and the Crown. She has the power to dissolve Parliament, and she has the power to send the army, the military out, because she's the Governor General. Now think military sense, because the Indian Act is military policies, and we're still living under a military occupation right now. But people don't see it like that, but that's what it is. Mark Miller was military before he became whatever he is, a minister. Then Mike Mitchell's working with the Canadian military on our border crossing issues. Just because they changed their title from military to this doesn't mean they're no longer military. It just means they're putting, what do you call it? They're pulling the wool over your eyes or some shit like that.
Real quick, these are public figures you're speaking about, right?
Yeah, on the Canadian side. We're not talking about America.
Yeah. Well, because I gave you that warning about last names, so just...
Yeah, they're public figures.
Okay.
Pretty sure we dropped that name a few times on this podcast already.
Yeah.
Have we?
It goes really deep. Like,
motherfucker, I don't even remember your birthday. Okay? You expect me to remember everything we talked about?
Were you following what I was saying though?
Yeah.
I'm trying to, yeah.
Because this is probably why you're having technical difficulties here. So, this Governor General, right? She's the Inuit. She was on that Royal Commission when it first started. She helped them with the first modern day land claim out in James Bay. That was the first land surrender. This woman helped them with the first land surrender. Now she's the Governor General. She's the top. and she has direct lines with Abram Benedict for some reason right now. He's got in his meeting notes that he's been talking to the Governor General. She's the first Native woman, and she went in a historic visit with the Queen a couple months back, and they planted a tree for global unity and peace. And you know what their tree was? A red maple. So they're trying to take our culture, they're trying to appropriate it, because what they need Canada to be considered a nation is a language, a land base, and a culture. Mark Miller speaks our language. He was wearing that beaded mask that my cousin made from. So he's wearing our mask, like our beadwork, wearing our culture, speaking our language. Now they need a land base. They need a land surrender. And how much sense does it make to have Mohawk as the national language when Canada is derived from our language, Ganada, like Ganadago? So they're taking that. They're trying to become recognized as a nation because they're a de facto government due to wars. They were never independent from the crown in Britain whenever all these wars were going on. It just, to end the wars and everything, they became like called de facto. So they're actually not a true nation. They're a corporation.
They're more like a colony.
Yeah.
Not exactly their own country.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a district of Britain still.
Yeah.
Is what Canada is.
Was it part of the Commonwealth? That's what they call it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is funny that they have their fucking proud ass national anthem, but they're really not a nation, right?
Yeah.
Not like America, who kicked those British right in the fucking teeth.
Actually, thanks to Darren Bonaparte, I heard that we got recruited to go kick some American ass out in Montreal. Boom.
So that was history repeating itself when we shut down Canada. Because you know how Sir William Johnson and them, what they did to get the feds, to get the government at the table? You know, Joseph Brant and all of them?
Yeah.
In that war, what they did was they basically, like, ambushed.
I was just laughing at Willie Johnson. It's an awesome name.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
If your last name's Johnson, he's your grandfather.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying that's like an awesome porn name.
Well, he had an awesome Johnson, apparently, too.
Yeah.
They said he had
I'm
100.
sorry, go ahead.
He's
I'm sorry, I am a comedian after all.
Get it right,
Good
Will.
thing.
Get it right. Sir Willie Johnson.
There you go. Sir Willie Johnson.
This is just like me trying to have a conversation with my kids.
Yeah.
It's basically what we are. We're just an adult kids.
Bunch of
So
man-children
they basically
running around.
like they would burn down like all their trading posts, the colonists. So like they take over all the fur trade and trading posts and surrounded it and got them to the point where they had to sit down at the table with us, like as the Iroquois Haudenosaunee Confederacy. So it affected, the only thing that got them to sit at the table and make agreements with us is when we affected their economy, and back then it was the fur trade. And then what we did in 2020 when we shut down Canada and shut down the tracks is we affected their economy once again. And it got Mark Miller to the table. I sat across the table from him, and we made them agree to go and sit down with the Wet'suwet'en and, like, you know, talk with them and negotiate. But the mistake we made was that the Wet'suwet'en should have had the knowledge and the history shared with them that we have before they ever sat down at the table with the feds, because the feds twisted it and made it into, like, the inherent rights policy and, like, self-governance and all that stuff. But that's not good what they're trying to push.
It's all under the Band Council, which they created, correct?
Yeah, so it's still, like, and that's helping Canada further become recognized as a nation, because now the Wet'suwet'en, who never surrendered and are unceded, are sitting at the table with Canada and making agreements with them. We never made agreements with Canada. We made agreements with the Queen and the Crown. So now they're down here making it like their fight to be recognized as a nation stronger. So it kind of was like we kind of got ahead of ourselves, I think, when it came to that. Like the feds, they came and sat down at the table and they took advantage of them because they were naive and they didn't know like what they were actually doing. That's like me recognizing this Valleyfield court and it's provincial and they have no business bringing me there because I'm Haudenosaunee, I'm Gunyakahaga. If anything, I should be talking to that Governor General and having her relay that message to the Queen, because that's who we deal with. Like, she even came to Tandanega recently, the Queen with silver bells to commemorate that silver covenant chain. They still remember and acknowledge those agreements that we made with them. But they want us to forget, and that's what the education system and everything's designed for, like we were talking about earlier. They want us to erase our history and forget so that we don't have people like me fighting for our land and actually knowing what the fuck we're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, the cops come up to me and they want to ask me questions. I can answer every single one, and I can make them go home and do homework, and then they don't come back. Because it's like they find out what I'm saying is true.
So what should people do to be like you?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
Is there a cheat sheet here where we can just like
if I can piggyback
20
on
like
that.
the ACLU does that 20 things you can say if you're pulled over by a cop?
Well, I don't mean just that. I mean, like, what... You obviously have a lot of beliefs and principles. And the thing is, I admire people like that. But the thing is, I want to help the decolonize fight. But I can only do so much because, unfortunately, I have a job that is a tribal job. I need, to contribute to that capitalist belief because now I have a house to pay for. I need internet. We have to put out your message to decolonize out on the internet.
It's a catch-22.
Exactly. So what can we do? The only thing I can do is that when there's something like Wet'suwet'en, I sent supplies. When there was something like Standard Rock, I put on a benefit and sent supplies and money. When there's something like decolonialclothing.com, and they actually contribute to these amazing, what am I trying to say here? They donate the money to these causes. All I can do is buy the clothes, to show my support. But what else could we do? What could our listeners do?
I think so where I'm at now, like what I'm going to say, I'm still going to say to you is what I learned is it's a lot easier to raise a child than to rebuild a man. So like when you have that kind of mindset and you really believe that there's nothing you can do because of all these things, it's hard to change that. But to raise your children to think a certain way, because everything I heard you say I could like disagree with, but it's like you get too comfortable and complacent with where you're at in life. Like it sucks that they contaminated our rivers and our land so much that we can't even fish. You could be, if you were in your grandfather's generation, you could be sustaining your family by fishing. You could be farming. We could be living off our land. We could be making baskets, but we got the emerald ash borer freaking completely wiping everything out because the seaway brought in that invasive species. So we have all these corporations that completely like destroyed our land. So how are we supposed to be self-sustaining and self-sufficient as a people? So now we have to look to the tribal who employs how much, like the majority of Akwesasne. So now they got control because they're the ones paying you money to pay your bills, because now you need to go to the grocery store to feed your family. You can't grow your own food. Now you need a house because why are we living in nuclear families?
We actually do plan to start a garden.
Yeah. It would be good to do test your soil first, or do a raised bed. Especially if you're closer to there because they recontaminate it with PCBs.
We're going to be on Margaret Terrain, so that's going to be something. I know there's a lot of bedrock in that area.
So if you want to visit Wilbur,
yeah, that's where he stays.
the new Aboriginal Outlaws Studios.
So yeah, there's a lot to it, but basically where it came down to was that's what we're trying to do. It's like I don't work, I do media, so like yeah, I have to utilize technology, and I choose like when we're all at camp, my kids they get like maybe half an hour of screen time a day, and like the blue light and like the gamma rays and everything they're talking about with the autism. Like, do you ever hear about that? Like how it's affecting our children, all these cartoons and how there's
a lot of things that can contribute to that. But what I'm saying is that this is my counter argument.
Yeah.
Is that your message is important, but we need to have a wide audience. We need to utilize things like social media. We need to build a fan base. We need to have a far reach so people can hear your message.
So let me tell you what I did to fund my habit. Yeah. Just kidding.
What I'm saying is
so much weed.
What I'm saying is that we need people like you, and for you to be able to share your idea with people so that maybe they can live that way too. You kind of need us too.
Yeah.
So we need to help each other. So
here's our idea, because food shortages are coming up, and economy. When we talk about economy is the people. So we have to start rebuilding our own economy, not rely on their Federal Reserve, and actually build up our own reserves. And that's like seeds and trading like meat and food and things that we need, like medicine, and learning how to use those plants and building up that economy that we once had. And instead of relying on this, but till we get there, we can't completely let go of this, like what you're saying. But that's why I can only see it happening maybe in my children or grandchildren's lifetime. Because right now we're working on breaking away from that. But maybe by then we'll have an economy established where they don't have to rely on the Federal Reserves and credit and banking systems and everything to provide for their families. But we're not there yet. So.
I mean, it's definitely going to take time.
Yeah.
Because a theory of ours that we pointed out before, that maybe 7 generations, yes, that idea pertains to people, of course, about thinking from where it started to thinking ahead. But my theory is, and I brought this up with you, is that maybe 7 generations is how long it takes to fix something. How long it takes to, fix a wrong, to change an idea, for things to catch on. So like you said, you want things to go back, to where we can finally be, autonomous, and we can be completely sovereign, and it's just us, and we have no interference. Maybe it is gonna take as long as like your grandkids or your great grandkids, but then that means you're right. We gotta start teaching people to fight for it now.
We got to think of where you've been. Like we're not coming from nowhere either. Like we're along that path. We're second or third generation along that path. Mm-hmm. There was no longhouse people 100 years ago. Akwesasne. There were ceremonies, but there was it was all underground, and the goal was to exterminate your language. And now the goal is the opposite. So that's progress. Like there's more people in Akwesasne now alive than existed 100 years ago or 200 years ago. At that point, we have thousands of people. So, I think it's easy to get caught up in like, oh, everything's fucked and there's no future. When it's like, no, it's kind of awesome now. Like, for as much as we like to say, well, this legal precedent, that legal precedent, part of the truth is the reason why we live in subjugation is because if they wanted to, they could kill us all. Like the United States could kill us all. It wouldn't even be hard. Like they could kill us all in an hour. Like they have, look at it, just Google MLRS and what that can do. That would level Akwesasne in an hour and kill every man, woman, child, and living thing in that whole thing. And maybe magic will stop it, but I don't usually bank on magic because like a lot of Ukraine's on fire, So it shows what you can do with modern weaponry. So the fact that we're here and we're having these conversations this far along, it's like. It's not the worst thing in the world. If they really, I do hope people hear this and are moved to try the same thing, or to join Jackie, or to join Ganyange, or to make their own Ganyange. There's enough people. How hard is it to live in Akwesasne too? There's so many people, right?
Yeah.
Like housing around here sucks. So.
Well, yeah. See, that's another issue too. I volunteer with Unity Street Help, and that's a major issue. Is like homelessness. And like having a housing crisis within Akwesasne, and then to know, because I was involved with what was going on in Cornwall when they made a center where people could go do laundry and get meals. The band council were kind of pushed to do that because of there was a tent city in Cornwall. I'm not sure if you're aware. Last summer, there's a lot of natives on the they call it the North Shore. It's part of a land claim area in Cornwall where they're trying to build a port. They set up their tents, and then the band council in the city of Cornwall weren't having that, so they set up this center.
Didn't I fucking tell you about that?
Yeah.
I told you about that when you're running for chief.
I knew about it. Remember,
and this fucking cunt was just like, well, that's Canada's problem.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's Canada's problem.
What a cunt.
Hey, you wouldn't like my solution.
But yeah, so what they did is they wouldn't allow them. The city of Cornwall wouldn't allow them to open.
Bingo palace into a homeless shelter. Put our people there.
Or like a rehabilitation center at that.
Yeah.
Look at how many people have OD'd and passed away recently because of the drugs. And then they're going to Cornwall to do drug busts.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's a lot of factors that are in play, like why I want to keep my children out of... It sucks to say the environment in Akwesasne right now because of where we're at. Like, even when you brought up the language, it's like, yeah, it's beautiful. We're revitalizing it, and they're not trying to extinguish it. But it's just like the Wet'suwet'en and the Fed sitting at the table. Now they're funding us. But you really look at the fine print in the funding, and they're saying that the office has the rights of a natural human being. And I had people from Tanzania be told they couldn't share the curriculum because Canada bought and paid for it. So they own our language.
Yeah.
So
good thing we break copyright laws.
Yeah. Yeah, so they think that because they give us funding that they can own our language, and then that goes into their whatever records. So there's a lot of catch-22s around here.
It's almost like nothing's free, huh?
Nope. No, especially when you take the money.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because we don't print money. We need it, it's just...
Unless we establish our own economy where we're like, hey, I got this freaking turtle socks, I could trade you for that deer meat.
Yeah, but I can't pull up with my car and like try to, trade a hand drum for some gas.
Yeah.
That's where we're at too. Like the only things we need money for is gas right now.
Well, I mean, there's a giant discussion about economy that could happen. That's like
extra long.
We need a course in micro first, and I do turn on people onto Austrian economists economics because it really does explain a lot of cool stuff. But I like your direct action. I think.
What do you think, John?
Yeah.
I could go all over the place. So
Well,
it's good
yeah,
you're
for
keeping it
sure.
focused.
Well,
I'm so happy he's here today.
I know, right? He's got something to add.
Yeah.
Hey, we did have the hand grenade story.
Here too, man.
The hand grenade story was great. I mean, as a
Yeah,
person,
the hand grenade story is always great.
and that's why I support the Akwesasne Freedom School, because it's not perfect, but it's a step.
Yeah, and it's not government funded. Well,
Well,
the tribe gives money and stuff out of donations, but
Well,
like with our camp, it's like I'm
do our
trying to
best.
stay grassroots and not
Yeah.
get funding.
yeah,
Like look what's happening with the Cayugas right now,
yeah.
and like that.
What is happening with the
BIA.
Cayugas? Let's tell people.
Yeah,
This is this date in August. What is happening with the Cayugas?
there's basically a BIA funded. It's not even a civil war because it's one person hiring mercenaries that were in Standing Rock basically to like, freaking, I don't know what they're trying to do. They're trying to extinguish the traditional people out there basically.
So where is Cayuga?
I have no clue. Seneca Falls in New York,
Yeah.
supposedly, so called.
So there's these little reservations in New York,
Mhm.
like Oneida and Cayuga, that seem to be run by an oligarchy. Each one of them, almost like that's designed that way, and they like to use the words hereditary chief, don't they?
Or they're just using the word chief.
Yeah. So there's a call out for that. Anyways, I saw them tear down people's houses on the internet. Good thing we have Facebook, right?
Yeah, so it keeps us all in the loop and connected with one another because we don't.
And that's another thing. That's another big can of worms. You know, a lot of this, a lot of these fights, the movement has to be started with connection. The
Yeah.
biggest thing that connects people right now is social media. It's just, we're definitely gonna have you come back.
Yeah.
It sounds like we have a lot to keep unpacking.
Well, I think the thing to be important is don't look for perfection, because I've heard especially tribals try to rip down every traditional idea because they're looking for perfection. So when you do that,
Are you talking about the tribe or tribal police?
tribal employees who
Oh.
don't like traditional stuff because it brings to light their colonization, and it brings to light their willingness to participate in colonization.
That is sad to see.
And
It's just
it-
kinda
yeah,
like,
it-
man, you drank the Kool-Aid.
Well,
hard, didn't you?
I believe it ignites cognitive dissonance in their brain. So they'll try to pick apart, because our system's not going to be perfect. We live in an economy. We live in a global economy. We live now, and we're never going to achieve perfection. We didn't have perfection 500 years ago. Well, how far along this path can we get? And I think people like Jackie are important to do these direct
For
actions.
sure, man.
And it's
Yeah.
not going to be perfect. Yeah, she's just like the Amish. I've heard so many people like, oh, the Amish use money. They shop at Walmart. Yeah, it's not fucking perfect, but they do their best with their beliefs.
I don't give a fuck what they do. I just saw them bastards buying gas once. I'm like, why do you need that? And they said for our generators. I'm like, that's fucking shitty. You're not supposed to use generators, you motherfucker.
To sell their milk, it has to be refrigerated.
I know.
So
I'm just making a funny.
it's the white man keeping the white man down.
Well, thank you so much, Jackie Hall. We're definitely going to have you come back.
And we're neighbors.
And thank you so much.
I know.
Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. Be sure to follow our new page, Aboriginal Outlaws Studios, and be sure to look out for our sister podcast, Women's Dance. Hopefully they will have a page soon. Be sure to follow us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, and subscribe. What's so funny there, buddy?
I just thought something funny.
Let's hear it.
No.
Okay.
I'm reading John's mind right now.
And follow us on TikTok
Yes.
and Spotify. All of these things, please just like and subscribe.
Follow us down the road.
Subscribe,
Buy us
please.
coffee.
Have your friends
Coffee.
subscribe.
Give us money.
Well, that's the thing.
Or moose meat.
Moose
Our-
meat, okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, our reach expands when people subscribe because that's how
More
we get-
numbers. Yes.
Exactly. More numbers means more viewers, which means a further reach, which means better guests, which means a better show. So please subscribe and tell your friends to subscribe. Fucking make your tota a fucking YouTube just to subscribe for her too.
That's
You
right.
don't even have to have her listen. But thank you so much. I'm fucking Will Bear Sunday.
I'm Johnny B.
Hey, I'm Joshua.
And today it was Jackie Hall. Woo!
Man, man. Bruce Buffer's gonna lose his
Thank you
job.
so much. And what's your clan, by the way?
Wolf.
We're all snipes, by the way.
Are you?
We are all snipes.
Something about them wolf clans, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Lucky.